Greetings folks, Enrico Nardini here with Play Unplugged, and we're going to look at the Iron Kingdoms Unleashed. This will be an Unleashed unboxing, and I'm changing the format up a little bit. We're going to avoid the long introduction. I want to get kind of right into the product. Iron Kingdoms RPG is a miniature-based RPG. I find it quite fun. This is the new Horde setting, bringing Hordes back into it. And this is kind of the way that it's done with a lot of the War Machine / Hordes products. The War Machine will get something, and then Hordes will get something analogous to it. So this box set is a starter similar to the Pathfinder starter box set or Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition starter box set, especially similar to that because it is one designed for 4 pre-generated characters, and so you cannot make your own characters, which I find kind of disappointing, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot of cool bits in here for us to look at. So one thing, this is a system that uses miniatures. You're going to need a ruler, and they did include a little floppy laminated ruler paper thing, and that was pretty smart, actually, because you do need one. And I've already looked at this, and one of the cool things about this is you really can just dig in and start playing right away. It's pretty much got everything you need. Some advertising gubbins, put those off to the side. These are the kind of the main course here, the 2 rule books. They're staple bound, they're like little magazines. Full color though, kind of the classic 2-column layout. And they look nice, well printed. You know, what art is there is sparse, but it's very nice. More in the scenario book. You can see there's maps. Once again, following that 2-column layout, different diagrams that give you your adventure setups, your scenarios, and things like that. And in many ways, this game kind of plays out like it has role-playing aspects, but has some tactical miniature-ness to it. So it's tactical miniature gameplay to it. All right. There are 4 of these. These are like character portfolios. I really like these because if you are going to do pre-gens, the one good thing about this is they are in-depth. So here's your actual character sheet, and when you're making your own character, it's going to pretty much look like this, and some abilities, things like that, and it goes over each character. So there's Golan Oathbreaker, who's a pygmy troll, chieftain, warrior, and the dual class thing is because when you're making your character, they kind of have 2 backgrounds. So you'll see the chieftain and the warrior. Lurk, the bog trog, bone grinder / mist speaker, and when I played this demo at Gen Con, I actually played this character. It's very fun. Zocha the Outcast, a Bloodweaver Scout. She's a Thorn. And lastly, the fan favorite everybody loves, Long Chops. And when we were playing this at Gen Con, people were very eager, wanting to play Long Chops, the Gator Man, who happens to be a big game hunter. He's a brigand / monster hunter, and he's got this crazy scoped giant rifle. So, getting past all that, we've got some punch-out terrain elements. These are double-sided, and they're printed nicely. They're on some nice cardstock. They have good details. The art's nice, and you get a bunch. So there's this, and so this kind of stuff, at least, is stuff that you could use if you expand it into other aspects of the game. And it's very different setting from the Iron Kingdoms in a lot of ways in the terms of the wildness. A lot less technology out here in the boonies. And so you'll get a lot of these terrain tiles kind of reflect that. So here's some more. So you can set up, these terrain tiles will be useful for setting up different scenarios, different adventure scenarios. And there's a couple basic, there's some plateaus, rivers. This is kind of very scenario specific to the adventure, I can tell you that. And there you go. So stuff that at least this stuff you'll be able to use again. You'll also be able to reuse these miniatures. Now these came in a bag, but I tore into them right away. So there's dice. This game runs on 6-siders. You're usually going to be rolling 2 or 3 d6. So here's some dice, and they're fine, totally serviceable. Now, these miniatures, when I first saw these at Gen Con, I thought that they were originally going to be multi-part polystyrene plastics, which I was just super excited for because those are some of the easiest materials to work with. They hold detail really sharply. That isn't actually the case. I was talking with Matt Wilson on Twitter, and he informed me that it wasn't that they went to this is like a soft D&D style plastic, D&D miniature style plastic, or any of the other pre-painted miniatures you can usually find. It's that kind of plastic, so it's a bit soft, but they went to, first of all, this is much more cost effective, so that it's easier to produce this in volume. That being said, what I saw at Gen Con were not polystyrene. They were actually the resin masters, and they were cast so well that I was just hugely impressed. Now, these miniatures are cool, okay? You get your, your Warhogs, your, here's Long Chops, And so I'm not denying that these are cool, but I also cannot tell a lie when I say, by comparison, they just are not as nice. The detail is not as sharp. It's a little more soft. And there are, like parts fits like this. Like if you want to paint a Long Chops, there's going to be a gap back here you need to fill. And that's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's just one of those things. Now, there are some advantages here. For somebody who isn't a miniature game hobbyist, these guys are durable. You can toss them all over the place. They're not going to break. Secondly, they're already assembled, which a polystyrene kit likely would not have been. So I'm not saying these don't have some advantages. They definitely do, just not exactly what I would have wanted in an absolutely ideal situation. So that said, though, they're cool. They match the characters in the scenario perfectly, which is really neat. And a lot of these you could get more use out of. This troll character, once again, the details aren't nearly as good as the Resin Master, but at the same time, still very flavorful. He's got this little whelp with his beer mug, and that's super awesome. So some neat stuff here. So in the end, one of the questions you're going to have to ask yourself is, number one, do you like role-playing with miniatures? Because it's very integral to the way this system works. Also, another thing you might have to ask yourself is a starter set with only pre-generated characters, is that something you want to spend $45 on? Because that is what is on offer here. Now, I feel like you get a lot of stuff in here. There's definitely a lot of little bits and bobs and things that are really exciting. But that's what you have to consider. You have to consider that versus the cost. Because comparing it to other starter sets, like the Pathfinder starter set, for example, the Pathfinder starter set, you can actually create your own characters, and it's a little bit cheaper. I think running at like $29.99 retail or something like that, $30 retail, somewhere in that ballpark. So that's what you have to consider. Also setting, if you're a giant Iron Kingdoms junkie and you love War Machine and Hordes, this is definitely going to be a great game for you, though you might want to wait for the actual core rule book to come out and buy that instead if you're kind of already familiar and you just want to get right into the character creation and things like that. And of course, the miniature line they have supports that as well. Anyway, if you enjoyed this unboxing, please make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, visit the website playunplugged.com, favorite this, share it all over the place, and I hope you enjoy tons of running through the wilderness of the Iron Kingdoms fun. Thanks for watching.